Alright guys, welcome back to another one. So we've got something interesting to talk about today. It appears that Square Enix have slightly changed the Kingdom Hearts Collection 1 through 3 box art, as a lot of retailers that are currently stocking the physical edition for Nintendo Switch 2 now features a slightly different version of that art. Now if you have been out of the loop, this artwork has been the point of controversy for the past week and a half, as many people are led to believe that it does contain some level of generative AI. Well, we absolutely do know that, at least looking at the character artworks here, these are in fact drawn by Tetsuya Nomura, taking on a newish style that I guess Tetsuya Nomura is doing for Kingdom Hearts character arts. But there are absolutely a few oddities here that people have noticed, whether it's certain details to do with the characters like Kingdom Hearts 2 Sora's weird looking hand, or finer details to do with accessory pieces on Sora's clothing. However, the biggest red flag here is the locations that feature in this artwork, like the Twilight Town clock tower. Zooming all the way in and looking at the finer details of the clock tower, like the clock face itself, it starts to look like a mishmash and a mess of different details. It really does seem as if AI has had some type of involvement with creating at least aspects of this artwork. The locations, I could say for absolute sure, I just don't think that Tetsuya Nomura would ever draw any of his art pieces to look like this, where it is just a cluster of different stuff going on. Now, my immediate assumption when the AI allegations started to roll out for this was, okay, yeah, I do believe that there is some level of AI usage going on here, but I think it leans more in the direction of AI upscaling due to Square Enix uploading such a high resolution version of this art, coming in at 7200 by 4050. That's huge. And if you've never AI upscaled an image before, based on how far you're trying to upscale this from its original resolution, it tends to get very small and minor details within that image incredibly wrong, where it starts to look almost borderline generative AI. However, because Square Enix haven't acknowledged this, they haven't put out a public statement saying, no, everything here is hand-drawn, there is no AI usage, maybe aside from possible upscaling, and then very quietly, very silently changing the box art so that it basically hides the locations and only includes the sort of backdrop colorations from each of these locations for the box art here, sort of suggests that Square Enix are trying to cover the tracks here, and that perhaps there really might be some level of Gen AI usage within this art. I don't know, the timing is kind of suspicious given that there were a lot of complaints pitched against this. I still personally believe that there isn't any AI usage when looking at the character arts. We'll absolutely admit that there are some oddities here that make you kind of question it, but I think it's really just a case of perspective, making some of the physical attributes of these characters just look a little bit strange, but also just lack of time. Whenever it comes to Tetsuya Nomura whipping up a Kingdom Hearts artwork, for whatever reason, it always seems like Tetsuya Nomura's asked, last minute to whip up an artwork for a box art, only giving this dude a matter of days, or in some cases hours, to prepare something. This is also a very different style compared to what Nomura typically does for his Kingdom Hearts artwork, so again, maybe it's a case of adjusting to the way this new style looks. It was absolutely a mistake for one of these characters though in the original version, and that's Donald. He was drawn with one of his hands to have 5 fingers, but we know that Donald only has 4. So this has been updated in a recent press release from Square Enix today. I know some people are going to be like, alright, well that's got to be Gen AI. I really do believe that's probably an oversight on Tetsuya Nomura's behalf. Considering all of this though, I think it is a little bit disappointing that they have changed it here to hide the locations, because these locations that are featured in the artwork are incredibly important and iconic for the entire Darkseeker saga. It makes sense for them to be included here, and honestly, the original box art just pops that much more than this updated one. Now, we don't know for absolute certain if the box art has been changed, but just based on quite a few different retailers using this updated version does suggest that the physical edition of this game will ship with this box art. There's a couple of other things I want to talk about in regards to the collection, like number one, the Switch file size for the entire collection has come out. It's coming in at 131 gigabytes. which does make sense. That does seem incredibly large, though bearing in mind you are getting 10 games. This is ultimately why the physical Switch version is coming on a keycard, because that is absolutely massive, with the maximum file size for a Nintendo Switch 2 cartridge coming in at 64 gigs. Still though, I think a lot of people were hoping for at least looking at just like 1.5 plus 2.5 to be contained on the cartridge, with the rest of the games available to download digitally. That would have been nice, but that is not the case. You have to still download all of the games, even if you buy the collection physically on Switch. However, it appears that it's different for PlayStation 5. Roxolo over on Reddit asked the Japanese support team at Square Enix what games would be included on the disc without a download. While the American and European team didn't respond back to them, the Japanese team did, and they mentioned Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix, Dream Drop Distance, and Kingdom Hearts 3 plus the Remind DLC will be included on the disc without any download. Everything else though will require a day one patch. I'd have to imagine this means that you probably can't even access 1.5 plus 2.5 and 2.8, as the majority of the files of those games still require to be downloaded. However, hopefully, without the day one patch, you can still play Kingdom Hearts 3 with Remind. This is kind of cool, considering that there is no physical package for Kingdom Hearts 3 that includes the Remind DLC on the disc. This is the only one. Now, don't take this as concrete information just yet. It's very possible that this customer support rep might be getting their information mixed up, given that the European and USA team never responded back, and perhaps it's something they can't talk about or hasn't been finalized just yet. Something else I'm really curious to know though is, will this new updated collection receive any benefits over the previous versions of the game? Now, this is going to be a native PlayStation 5 version of all of the Kingdom Hearts games. Well, honestly, there isn't really too much more they can do with enhancing these Kingdom Hearts games compared to the PlayStation 4 version. If we are looking at Kingdom Hearts 3, hopefully we might see a resolution increase. To be honest, they can't really do much more in the frame rate department, as all of these games already by the PlayStation 4 version run absolutely fine. Things like improved loading times are absolutely something that could take place, especially looking at Kingdom Hearts 3, so here's hoping. But we do know that the PC version of 1.5, 2.5, and 2.8 have an exclusive enhancement over the current console versions, and that is the upscaled high-definition textures. This was introduced back in 2024 with the release of Kingdom Hearts coming to Steam. It included upscaled textures for all of the older games. The catch here though is all of these textures were upscaled using AI. So this is going to come down to a matter of preference. Some people love these, some people hate these. In some cases, some textures absolutely do look better, but in other cases, yeah, you kind of get that like messy AI look to a few of them. I do wonder if this newest collection will include the AI upscaled textures for the older Kingdom Hearts games that'll be included for both PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Switch 2. I know some people are going to be like, no, just keep the textures OG and original. I don't want any of that garbage in my Kingdom Hearts games, and honestly, that is fair enough. I have a feeling that if the console versions were going to include the texture upgrades, Square Enix probably would have mentioned it somewhere in the announcement trailer, so it makes me think they won't be in the console versions. Who knows though, leading up to October, maybe Square Enix will drop just a little bit more information about the collection, though at the same time, like, what more can you say, considering this is like the third, fourth re-release of a Kingdom Hearts bundle we've had in recent time. However guys, that's a small update on the Kingdom Hearts collection 1 through to 3. I think this is a cool thing, even though it's kind of like, wow, yeah, surely this has to be the final Kingdom Hearts bundle, because we've got so many of these. But I think it ultimately makes sense, especially looking at Switch 2, and cool to know that at least looking at like PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, we are getting native versions of the Kingdom Hearts games for those consoles, which will definitively run better than the PlayStation 4 version. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Be sure to slippity slap that like button, as it helps me out more than you know. Subscribe to the channel to keep up with everything going on here. A big thanks to my wonderful supporters on both Patreon and via YouTube members. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and we'll chat again real soon.